Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I'm all sorts of excited to talk to you. I got some thoughts, things that might impact the Jets draft strategy or our perception of their draft strategy. I think Darren Muji may have accidentally tipped our hand a little bit. Maybe he's trying to cover it up, or it's all smokescreen season and everything is fake and nothing is real. The points don't matter. Nothing matters until draft day. Got a whole lot of confusion. That we'll go over, talk about it. I want to get your thoughts. And we're going to go from this 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock hour into our 9 o'clock Talkin' Jet stream. It's actually myself and Dom, and we've got Andreas Keaton, safety out of Temple, joining us. Excited to talk to him. He met with the Jets after his pro day the other day, so very excited to get him on the podcast. And then we're going to roll into Green Bean and Dom's 10 o'clock mock. So we'll be passing you along to each one of these shows here. For this one, we are going to merely discuss thoughts that have gone on the last few days and some things as far as trades and whatnot we got to do for the mock drafts later. Not going to do a mock draft in this hour. We'll do one with Dom on the back half of the Talkin' Jets show. So really looking forward to kind of chopping it up in here with you guys. I see Seeds, JD, Zachary, Hennessy, Kansas City Chiefs from Lewiston, Australia. Nice to have you in here. Good to have you all the way around. All right, boys and girls. We got to hear a little bit from Darren Muji the other day. Let me pull up my notes that I jotted down here. So I had a whole lot of things to say. And I'm not sure if he's being truthful or if he's covering things up because it is smoke screen season all the way around. Now, one of the first things we heard, AVT is staying at guard. There's been a lot of speculation as far as AVT moving around. He's getting paid pretty comparable to a right or left tackle on his fifth-year option this year. I want to say it's about $14 million. Does that in any way impact his position moving forward? Muji apparently says, no, we're keeping him at guard. AVT, lots of fans don't want to see this dude moved from guard to tackle because there's this superstition mindset that every time he plays tackle, he winds up getting injured and knocked out for like the year or has some serious problems and whatnot. Or maybe that's just Denver. And he's just not allowed to play in Denver ever again. We'll see. Now, I will say that it is entirely possible that AVT could be just an injury-susceptible player. I don't want to say prone, injury-susceptible player. And maybe it's not the position change that's really doing things left, right, and sideways, but a lot of fans don't like it. Secondly, Josh Myers is going to push Joe Tippmann at center. Going to try and jockey for position there, which sort of leads me to, what does that mean? Like, if he's going to beat out Tippmann, Tippmann's not going to ride the bench, which means someone else is getting bumped out somewhere else. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. Sauce and Garrett extensions. They're going to talk about this after the draft. You got to get through draft season, understand where all your pieces fit together, and then make some determining factors. Like, obviously, you got to decide on your fifth-year options for JJ, for Sauce, for Garrett. Now, obviously, Garrett and Sauce, I would think, are a lock to get their fifth-year options. I would hope Jermaine Johnson falls into that camp as well. Breece Hall going into the final year of his contract. All these contracts going to start being discussed post-draft, and I'm all right with that. I think that's the right way to do it. Jets are going to have a little bit more money post-June 1st anyway, so you kind of can get whatever chips in place and then finally see what numbers you're working with and move forward with potential contracts, restructuring. We just saw J.C. Horn get a really big deal. Derek Stingley Jr. got a massive contract, so Sauce, you figure, is going to leapfrog that. I see Connor Hughes reporting Garrett's supposed to get anywhere from $25 to $30 million a year, which is kind of in the ballpark where we sort of expected anyway. Yeah, I'm glad they're at least thinking about having these discussions this offseason. It's not just like, oh no, we'll revisit it after the season type stuff. What else I have? Alan Lazard potentially being asked to restructure. He might wind up staying on the team depending on what happens come draft time and maybe through free agency and what guys shake loose. Now, this is a player that, one, we said, hey, go out and find a trade partner. which implies you don't really want him at his current salary anyway. But the fact that the Jets haven't just cut him yet is interesting. It could be that they're waiting till post June 1st to get a little bit more cap relief this year. It doesn't save them any money, just pushes off a little bit of that cap hit into 2026 while giving you a little bit more cap space in 2025. Now, the interesting part is the Jets haven't really been able to target wide receiver in free agency. Like, we got, what was it? Why am I losing the name? We just signed a wide receiver last week, Josh Reynolds. And I'm going to blank on the other guy's name. But guys that you'd kind of roughly consider to be like wide receiver 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that spectrum. So you don't have that wide receiver 2 opposite Garrett Wilson. And at the very least, Lazard's a pretty decent blocker. If you're going to be running the ball a lot, especially with a running quarterback like Fields, stands to reason that you might be interested in keeping some blocking wide receivers around. As long as you don't have to rely on Alan Lazard's hands. That's part of the issues there. Now, I actually don't mind Lazard if this is the capacity that they're going to try and retain him in. Hey, less money, less of a role. I don't want him to be the answer at wide receiver 2. I would like him to be kind of the fail-safe, break glass in case of emergency type wide receiver that doesn't leave us high and dry. I still very much want to target a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds of the draft. So lots of consideration, I guess. And then the final thing we started to hear about is that Justin Fields is going to start. No quarterback competition. Going to be expected to start. Obviously, with the money that we gave him, it sort of implied that was going to be the direction they go anyway. But still fascinating to see how this regime and coaching staff is sort of operating. They see Tyrod Taylor as clearly a backup, and I think it would have to take Fields really not playing well on the field during games to supplant him as the starter. I don't think there's anything we're going to see during training camp or anything like that, short of an injury, that would make Tyrod Taylor the starting quarterback for the Jets week 1. Does that take the Jets out of the discussion of quarterback in the draft? I don't think so. I would hope they don't go quarterback in the draft. I really do want to put all our energy behind Fields this season and then sort of revisit it in 2026 should things fall apart. But I don't want to invest a high pick when the regime doesn't even really know the players on the staff. Just build the guys you want to build around, figure out who needs to stay, who's going to wind up going, and then move on from there. And whether it's Justin Fields or future quarterback, I think you got a few opportunities to go into that. Now, I did say, did the Jets tip their draft hand? And I want to get into that. I want to hear your thoughts on my thoughts. If this is something that, might be either a little bit of covering tracks, might be a little bit of like, oh no, we said something that maybe we shouldn't have. Obviously, you guys see the thumbnail. I got Membu in the thumbnail. Interesting. Thoughts. I got thoughts on it. But before we do that, I do just want to acknowledge the sponsor of today's episode, and that is Atlas. Our sponsor today, brand new razor company. Just hit the market. They actually gave me this green one, pretty sharp. I don't know if you can see that. See it clearly. Nice little jet coloring going on. Sleek, very nice in the hand. Firm. That's a weird way to describe that. Nice little grippies on the side. I clearly don't shave the whiskery part of my face, but the underneath part has been doing just great. This thing cuts like butter. 5 U.S. made stainless steel blades that glide right through the facial hair. It has high-performance serum strip that infused with ingredients like aloe, vitamin E, and shea butter, which reduces irritation and helps prevent ingrowns. And the coolest part is the precision trim edge that's revealed by flipping back the serum straight. Let's see if I can get it. Can I show it? Derp, derp, derp. There it is. There it is, right. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it in there? I think it's in there. Boom. Little tiny strip that you can get to hit all those little delicate areas. Real precision. I have loved the shaving cream and the foam. Nice, smooth face. Oh, man, coming out of the shower and having that. Nothing like having your pores open up. Premium razor kits come with magnetic storage hook that can attach to your bathroom mirror or medicine cabinet for easy storage. And now, for a limited time, they're offering 15% off your first order when you purchase any razor kit and before and after shave set, which includes the precision shave cream and calming aftershave. Use code JETSTALK at houseofatlas.com. That's houseofatlas.com, HOUSEOFLTLAS.com, with promo code JETSTALK for 15% off your new razor kit and before and after set. Stop wasting money and time on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit House of Atlas today. Trust me, you'll love it as much as I have. Boys and girls, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Jets accidentally tipped their draft hand? I want to give my thought process into all of this. You guys heard the stuff that I brought up before. AVT, he's staying at guard. You got Josh Myers pushing Tippmann to start, which is really where it all starts to come in. The Josh Myers signing is an interesting signing for me that gets me thinking about the Jets' plans for the offensive line. I'm on record saying I think Membu is probably the selection at right tackle. It seems to me like that would make the most sense. You bookend your tackles. He's really good at run blocking. You have the ability to, obviously, you got Brees, Braylon, Isaiah Davis, Justin Fields, and we're going to be a run-heavy offense. So having the offensive line set is kind of a critical thing. There's a lot of Jet fans that want Tyler Warren, though. Tyler Warren makes a crazy ton of sense. Barron wide receiver room outside of Garrett Wilson, and then Barron tight end room outside of everyone. We got no one on the roster as far as tight ends go. So do you think Tyler Warren sort of plugs that need of second pass catcher while also being a blocking opportunist and, getting out in the flat? A lot of shorter reads for Justin Fields to kind of take advantage of. So there's a lot of stuff going into it. But like I mentioned, the Jets offensive line, how they're going to move pieces around and what it could potentially mean, it all stems back to that Josh Myers signing. And it's an interesting one. It's the comments that Muji made most recently saying that he's going to push Tippmann to start, which in my mind is telling me, well, hey, does that mean there's an opportunity for Tippmann to not start? And are you going to not have your second round pick playing on the offensive line, or is he going to play one of the other positions that, honestly, I think he's probably better suited at anyway? I think right guard, left guard, no matter which guard side it is, Tippmann at his size just struggles a little bit at center. And that's not to say I don't like him at center. I'm fine if they keep him there. But we had snap issues at the beginning of training camp last year and through the beginning part of the season. And Aaron Rodgers is pretty dialed in as far as being able to catch a rogue snap and be able to focus on where he's going with the ball. With Fields, if that ball goes snapping over his head, he's going to get a little bit of happy feet. And that's not necessarily the best way you want to go about it. So I think there's a little bit of concern there. So if Tippmann is going to get pushed by Josh Myers, where does that potentially leave the other pieces of the offensive line? Not to mention Josh Myers, when he signed his contract, he's got a Pro Bowl guarantee in there. How many backup centers or backup players in general get themselves a Pro Bowl incentive on the offensive line? This guy says he's competing to start. That to me tells me they're having some conversations. And if I play it down the line, I say, okay, Myers could potentially be center. Simpson and AVT seem pretty locked in at guard. But AVT's also a tackle. And if you're bumping Tippmann out, it stands to reason you're not moving Olu on the left-hand side. He's already got his buddy Simpson next to him. It only makes sense to slide Tippmann and AVT out wide right, AVT at right tackle, Tippmann at right guard, with Myers being the new piece in the center. Obviously, Justin Fields, former teammate as well. So there's some thought process there. Now, if you do this, that could mean the Jets are going Tyler Warren at number 7. Would make a lot of sense based on the weapons needs that we have. And it could tell you that they like a good amount of right tackle prospects in the second or third round. Ozzie Trapillo is a fan favorite. I've been talking about this dude since the very end of the season. I've been saying the Boston College kid that's played every freaking position. Guy's a mountain of a man. He would be a great right tackle selection at the top of the third round. I thought we were going to have to trade up to go get this guy because we were picking at the back end of the third when this whole draft process started. And then we realized that the third round pick that we gave up for Devontae Adams wound up being the later third round pick, which means we effectively traded up without giving up any draft picks. But if you think Trapillo is going to be there at the top of the third or any other tackle that you like, you're now not investing a premium asset in a position group that has put a lot of assets into it. Obviously, Olu, first round pick, John Simpson, free agent from last year. Tippmann, second-round pick, AVT, first-round pick, plus 2/3 to go up and get him. So it makes a lot of sense to have AVT kick out to the right. If he earns his money, great. This is a good problem to have. AVT earns his money. He wants to be a tackle or wants to be a guard, whatever it is. AVT gets paid at the end of the season. Now, if you have that, and you've taken Trapillo in the third, maybe you're feeling good about him at tackle and AVT kicks back into guard. Or because Trapillo is able to play a bunch of different positions, he could be one of your guards. John Simpson's not under contract next year. It's a lot of ways this thing could break. But I think between Tippmann being pushed and the Pro Bowl incentive for Myers, it feels like this is the direction the Jets are going to go. I think it's going to be Warren at the top of the draft. I don't think it's a bad pick. I probably would go the right tackle. But if Warren's as good as people are saying he is, I have no issues with just going all in and getting a guy that can help that right tackle block. Maybe it's AVT, getting a little bit of help on the right-hand side, and also go out and catch. Now, second round, you hit wide receiver. Third round, you hit, offensive lineman, like I've been saying. Right tackle, interior offensive lineman, something along those lines. I'm fascinated to see what this regime or how this regime feels about the other players on this roster. Boys and girls, I got some topics up here. Did the Jets tip their draft plan? I want to hear from you. I want to go through the chat, talk a little bit. I'm going to hop off here at 8:50 because I got to get ready for an interview with Andreas Keaton. Myself and Dom are going to be interviewing him in just a little bit over on the Talking Jets channel. You'll get pushed from this show into that show with us. We'll do a mock draft at the end of that show after the interview, and then we'll go into the 10 o'clock mock with Green Bean and Dom. Zachary Burner saying Garrett Wilson price $25 to $30 million. Yeah, that's what Connor Hughes is saying. The potential contract extension. I think that's what basically everyone has said anyway. The Higgins deal, which I think was $28.3 million or something along those lines, feels like the number that he should be at right now. Not to mention, I do think Connor Hughes winds up getting some favorable access to the Jets based on the information that he shares about the Jets. I think he's kind of a mouthpiece for the Jets organization. And to me, this tells me the Jets are hoping that's where Garrett Wilson's contract is going to be, because if I'm Garrett Wilson, I mean, I'm going to shoot for the moon, right? I'm going to shoot over and above. And over and above doesn't feel like $25 to $30 million. So I think this is more of a Jets, tip more than anything else, unless it's just Hughes talking candidly about what he has heard from around the league as to what Garrett Wilson's value is. Andrew Yale, boom, mind blown. What's up, family? Dino, I like it. Dino. Kansas City Chiefs, is Justin Fields right quarterback for the New York Jets? I hope so. I really hope so. I would like to see him ball out. I'm not expecting like any kind of crazy passing yards, but heck, this dude throws 20 passes a game and 12 to 15 are really, really good, and we're going to have a bunch of rushing yards and time of possession and whatnot, I think you can win with that. You just can't have inaccurate and low throwing percentage and everything else. So it's got to be in conjunction with that. Ghost Rider, nice to have you in here, dude. Hennessy says, let's go Mets. Baseball season officially underway this past week. Harry W, what's good, dude? They used two post-June first cuts on Mosley and Aaron Rodgers. They only get 2. Yes, that is fact. But they are allowed to cut Lazard post-June 1st. I think that's probably the confusion you are catching there. They can cut Lazard after June 1st and then get that cap relief that splits across multiple years. The post-June 1st designation that you're talking about is being able to cut them now and allowing the player to go sign elsewhere while the Jets can, understand that they have some cap space now and some cap space later. That's what that designation is. JT says, I'm with you. His blocking upside may be worth keeping Lazard. I think it depends on his contract number. I think it depends on who you draft in the draft. Like, you don't have any rush to make this decision. And if you're gonna cut him post June 1st anyway, ride it out, see who else becomes available. No sense in cutting a guy just to cut him. The answer for Lazard is, do you want to pay him $6 million to not be here, or 12 to be here? Is that what his contract ultimately is? Let's see. I should have looked this up beforehand. But we're going to learn together. So 2025, his base salary is $11 million. So the Jets would be paying him $11 million this season, none of which is guaranteed. His cap hit is going to be $13 million this year. That's because of his base salary plus the prorated portion of his signing bonus, which is $2 million. And then he would have a dead cap of like $6 million. So if you can cut down that base salary, let's say he goes down to like $5 million. Now you're saying, well, guess what? Now you're getting paid, what is that, $7 million? And at $7 million, I could kind of stomach that for Lazard for one more season. And then you're going to have only a $4 million cap hit, dead cap hit in 2026 if you wanted to do that, barring, some finagling of the contract beyond what we're just kind of talking about here. I don't hate it one way or the other. I could live with Lazard if that was the decision. I don't think this is an overly critical move because of the free agent. I don't think it would be I'm not going to be overly critical of keeping Lazard, even though I'm not like high on Lazard. But I think the blocking aspect is big. I think the style of play the Jets want to run is going to be similar to what might benefit Lazard. And the Jets just don't have a ton at wide receiver right now. So we'll see. It's an interesting way to look at that, Zachary. DMar says, I think AVT definitely staying at guard means we're going Membu if he's there. Swamp Ranger says Membu at 7 is the smart pick. That's the selection I would make. I would move and try to get Membu at 7 and just bookend your tackles. On either end, you got Olu, you got Membu for the foreseeable future. You got AVT, assuming you resign him at the end of the year. Tippmann's under contract. And then, who knows, maybe you sign John Simpson at the end of the year too. I do like this plan of attack. I think it's a deep tight end class. I do think Tyler Warren and Loveland are the two tight ends that kind of stand above everyone else. And then beyond that, it's, I'm kind of cool with waiting third round. Like, I don't want a second round tight end. I'd rather us go with the tackle or the tight end at 7 and then go wide receiver in the second round. What's up, JD Grant? Jerome, good evening, Jets family, says K Pasta Ryan. What's up, dude? Nice to have you in here. For Lazard, they're going to try to get a pick from Pittsburgh. Yeah, you could try. I don't know how likely that is. I would take a late 7th. They give us a 7th round pick and we get a 4-year cheap contract that you could cut if you wanted to. Cool. Down with that. Joe S says draft Membu. I'm scared somebody might draft Membu ahead of us now. That would probably need to be the Patriots if I had to really guess. It seems like the Raiders are dialed in on either Genty or Sanders or McMillan or Will Johnson. They can kind of go any direction. My Raider buddy is like Genty or Sanders are like his two options that he'd like to see. I don't know. Patriots could go that, though. Zachary says, Jets have 250 people who work at One Jets Drive, and 170 of them are on the buyout. Yep. Yeah, I talked about that about a month and a half ago, I think. I didn't know it was that many players or that many people that were going to go on the buyout, but I do know that there was a buyout offer extended. My understanding is it's 2 years of pay, which I think is incredibly generous. I think it gives people an opportunity to kind of decide what they want to do, if they want to hang around the team or if they want to go a different direction. I don't think a complete culture shift is necessarily a bad thing. I obviously don't want to see people lose their jobs that want to stay there. But I think if you're offered a buyout and you were interested in possibly exploring other opportunities, that's sort of all right. Better than a lot of other places. Some places you get like, hey, yeah, you get a month, you get 2 months. Now, maybe it's different based on the department they're in, but a 2-year severance is pretty nice. Mitt Flair says, I want Warren. Draft Membu, you don't have to worry about bookends for the next 10 years. Yep. Preach the choir. More value at tight end in rounds 3 through 5, which tells me less need for development. Drafting a tackle not named Membu will be a liability. Yeah, there's a lot of concern, I think, at tackle once you get beyond the first round. And if this guy's truly the best right tackle of the bunch, I'm not going to be upset with this move whatsoever. I saw a super chat in here. Let's go over Red Flow Feed. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Who has the better year, Colts or our Jets? Look, I think the Jets could have the better year. Colts have, who'd they sign at quarterback? What the heck did they just get? I know this off the top of my head, and I'm not going to know it. Colts sign QB. The heck was the name of the guy? Who did they sign? Help me out here. Daniel Jones. There it is. I don't view Daniel Jones as like this great quarterback. I think him and Richardson can duke it out, but I don't think I'm not overly high on either guy outperforming us. I think Justin Fields, you at least have an idea of the style of football he's good at playing, where Daniel Jones kind of hopped around a little bit. Maybe he got a little bit better being with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota last year, the tail end of last year. And sometimes you just need a change of scenery to give yourself an opportunity. So who's going to be better? I'm going to say our Jets. Screw it. Easy. Very difficult to acquire a tackle via trade or free agency. Teams don't let them go. Yep. Preach. D. Mars also saying, I love Warren too. Wanted him as well, but the more I think about it, I really think a good right tackle might be better for the offense. We're going to be running a lot. Yeah, I do hope that Membu is the selection. I think the thought process of moving AVT to right tackle and going right tackle in the mid rounds is a fine way to consider it. And if they feel like they like a few guys, I'd rather them probably do that. But I think you have a more sure. I feel like you're more likely to hit earlier on, obviously, right? That's the concern. Tyson says, I hate Membu pick. Ozzy Trapilla will be an average right tackle in the NFL and will be there at 73. So Tyson seems to be team Warren, it seems like. Watch they draft a safety. I don't want to say I'll be upset, but I would be mad. I would not be happy with them taking a safety at 7. Wouldn't be mad at Warren or Membu. Yeah, I'm going to understand either way. How they handle the rest of the draft will probably give me more feelings post-draft on the selection either way. Tittman was actually really good at center. He finished top 10 overall per Pro Football Focus. Yeah, look, I'm not saying anything bad about Tittman at center. I am saying he had snap issues, which is not a lie. And his height did hurt him in terms of like his leverage in trying to get low on defensive tackles. So it's just a size thing for him more than it is like a skill thing. I'm open to him staying at center. I'm open to him moving to guard if that's the case. Fields and Myers used to play together at OSU. Yep, I think that's definitely why they brought him in. Ozzy is too tall. Power rushers will win leverage battles and push him around. Tackles are kind of big. Trapillo's a big one. I want to say he measured in at 6'7" or 6'8". Big dude. It's all right. If they've got to get around that wingspan, I feel like that's almost all right. Eagle O-line is really tall. I'd have to look and see what their heights are. Swamp Ranger really pissing me off right now. Ozzy will go to New England, be getting around 3 and develop under Moses for a year. I hate you. I don't want to see that at all. I thought they said they're not moving AVT. They said they're not moving AVT. But I think it's interesting, some of the comments that were made, both about Myers pushing Tittman to start and Myers also having a Pro Bowl incentive in his contract. I think it's interesting. Not saying it's going to lean one way or the other, but I think it's a very interesting set of circumstances. I like it better if they dial in the O-line and not keep shuffling dudes around. That would be the Membu selection then. Tyson says Membu was 35 to 50 pick before the combine. Now he's number 7 pick. F that BS. Look, guys rise and fall because the combine. A lot of times it takes some extra eyes on a guy to go back and rewatch some additional tape. I'm not saying that scouts don't put out their own mock drafts all the time. It's analysts, it's things like that. Pro Football Focus and whatnot is feeding largely off their scouting analysis, but also on what they hear from, around the league. And if Membu runs sub 5 seconds in a 40, which he did, he puts himself in some really ridiculous competition or really ridiculous name categories with Trent Williams and Wirfs. Was it Wirfs? I think it was Tristan Wirfs that had the sub 5 second 40-yard dash. That's some good company to be in. Adirondack Fly Guys is tight end in the first, wide receiver in the second, right tackle in the third. I'd be cool with that. You want to flip-flop right tackle and tight end, I could do that as well. Moving AVT to right tackle is not a smart move. He gets hurt when he plays there because he needs to extend himself more and fight more athletic edge players. It's not superstition. It's just asking too much of him. That's entirely possible. He also gets hurt at guard though. So I don't know if it's a causation or correlation type thing that we're doing here. Jalen says, I'm fine with the price of Garrett. The Sauce one worries me, but it will most likely work out fine. Yeah, I would say the Garrett extension I'm totally fine with. The Sauce one, I feel like is going to be an easy extension to figure out, but at the same time, like a highly risky one. Sauce is the exact type of player, personality-wise, work ethic-wise, like charisma-wise, fan interaction-wise. Like Sauce is everything you want. Good player on the field. He doesn't cause the turnovers, which does bother me. And you saw how he operated last year without a defensive line, and it was his worst year of his first 3 years. You saw how the Jets' backup corners, when we didn't have DJ Reed or Sauce in playing against the Eagles, when we had a good defensive line, and those guys looked good. So, like, I think there's definitely a case to not pay Sauce the money that I think a lot of us expect him to get. Figure it's going to be about $30 million a year, probably $120 on 4 years. How comfortable do you feel paying Sauce that much money if he's not generating the turnovers? And I think this year he needs to follow the number one player around the field. I don't think either him or Garrett. I think it's more likely Garrett gets a contract this offseason than it is Sauce, which is like not something I necessarily would have said prior to me thinking this out loud. Or maybe they have some crazy incentives that are put in place, like, hey, you start hitting these goals, you're going to get paid like the top of your position anyway. That's sort of what I'd like to see if you're going to redo a contract before the 4th or 5th year, or before they finish their 4th year. Really, Woody is really upset with his F grade. Yeah, well, he earned it. So wear it proudly, my friend. Tight end with our 7th pick, etc. Now that sounds like a Jets move. It does. It definitely does. 20 to 25 million is probably the right number for Garrett Wilson. He's going to ask for north of 30. Yeah, I think if I were him, I would be asking for north of 30, and then you come back down to that 25 to $30 million range. And if not, dude, you're just going to be sitting playing for, way less than that. So you gotta have a little give and take. Sounds like they're gonna baby Justin Fields. They are gonna let it rip. Sounds like they are gonna baby Justin Fields. They are gonna let it rip. They aren't going to baby Justin Fields? I hope that's what you mean. Tyson, all the national media nerds had Membu at the back of the first guy before the combine, and it's because he plays right tackle, not left tackle. Watch his tape. Watch him stonewall Will Anderson and other SEC defensive ends. He stonewalled, what's the guy's name? Hold on, give me a second. I'll get him. He usually goes the tail end of the first. Edge rusher. Man, I hate when I don't have this queued up. The heck was his name? Shamar Stewart. Tankathon has him at number 15 to the Falcons right now. And he stonewalled him. Took his lunch money in the tape I was watching. Not upset if M'Bendu is the pick. Tyson thinks 9-8. If we go 9-8 this year, that's a good season. This is not a year I'm expecting to have a whole lot of success. Lazard dropped a lot, but he had a few big catches. He's big body. All our receivers are small. Yeah, I think he fits a profile that we just kind of need right now. Maybe convert Lazard to tight end. That would be an interesting move. I don't know if he's big enough to do that. Height-wise, he is. Hey, Ryan, did we cut Tyler Conklin? And if so, I think we should get Warren. So Tyler Conklin signed with the Chargers. He was a free agent, so the Jets didn't cut him. His contract voided at the end of the year. And a lot of Jet fans do want Tyler Warren. I would be happy with Tyler Warren, but I do think right tackle should be the selection for the Jets. I like finishing off the offensive line. Now, my caveat would be if they like a lot of mid-round right tackle prospects, like that you could have in the third or fourth round, I would prefer that route and get the stud tight end. Just because we have so much offensive line invested early on in our drafts, it's going to be a pain in the ass to try and keep them all. Ronald says, personally, I'd take M'Bendu and then Ozzie in the third. That's a whole lot of O-line. I definitely would be cool with double dipping at O-line, but I would rather it be tackle, right tackle specifically, and an interior offensive line guy. Need to study up on round 2 offensive tackles. I'd really rather the Jets go wide receiver in the second round. Get your bookend tackles, build around the trenches. I mean, basically the same profile as Penei Sewell is M'Bendu. Tyson says, I hope the Pats screw us and take M'Bendu so I don't have to see him as a Jet. If the Patriots take M'Bendu and like the Jaguars take Warren, Jet fans are going to have a conniption. Because that could mean like Abdul Carter goes 3 or Hunter goes 3 and Abdul Carter goes like 6. And then what do the Jets do? Oh, man, that might be my worst case Jets scenario. The 2 quarterbacks, the top 2 quarterbacks, and then Warren and M'Bendu going before us. I don't think I'd be a happy camper. I don't want Mason Graham at that point. Maybe I'd just take McMillan, take some sort of receiver. I saw a comment of or a clip of McMillan from, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I think it might have been his rookie year or his freshman year, saying they're asking him questions like, "Oh, so like, do you watch tape?" He's like, or like, in your free time, do you watch tape? He's like, "Nah, I don't even watch football." This guy's just athletically gifted. And it's not to say he doesn't watch game tape at all. In the receiver room, they're watching game tape and they're studying, and that's where he does his research. How many guys are honestly watching tape outside of that? I don't know. Might be position by position, but maybe that's a reason you don't like McMillan or something like that. I think it would be a silly reason not to like him unless you think there's more there to it. Saw us out here messing with Ice Spice. He's back to his all-pro ways in 2025. Look, I hope he is. I saw his pictures with Ice Spice. Admittedly, I don't really know who she is. I've seen pictures of her, and that's kind of about it. Zachary bringing up that McMillan doesn't watch tape. I did see that. Doesn't watch tape on his own, though. That is the caveat to that. M'Bendu in the first, Higgins in the second, Ferguson in the third are my ideal first 3 selections. As a plus, we can call him Third Ferguson. Oh, that'd be great. It'd be like Turd Ferguson. You know what? I would be cool with this. This would be a good end to the Jets' first 3 picks. I think Higgins is a stud too. I think the Pats want Campbell. He's more versatile and can play almost anywhere on the offensive line. Yeah, that's fine with me. I would be a little surprised if they didn't go Carter or Hunter if either one's there. That would be fine. Good. Let McMillan drop to the second round. I mean, could you imagine? I think the first 4 receivers could go in any order. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Golden goes a lot higher. It wouldn't shock me if Tet is the first receiver off the board. It wouldn't shock me if Burden comes off earlier. What the heck am I missing? I'm missing one other receiver in here. What happens when you work all day and you forget to look everything up? Igbukah, there it is. Igbukah might come off earlier. And I guess Travis Hunter. Hunter, I never really consider him a wide receiver. I just consider him a player that's not going to be there for us. Whatever. Anyone unsure about Membu, go watch his All-22 from the past 3 years. I'd like to see someone like just do a full tape breakdown, because like I sit and watch like different highlights and like clips of him like bullying dudes, but like Blewett has a really good I love sitting and watching Blewett's reviews. I'm gonna have to reach out to him, see if he's done more on Membu. Bearded said buyout was based on employment length, 2 weeks per year up to 10 years. 3 weeks a year over 10. VPs and higher are 80 weeks plus a match. Interesting. So that's different than what I've heard. Maybe that's for like everyone else. The interesting. Different buyout. 2 weeks per year. 2 weeks is pretty shitty. That's pretty bad. I take back my previous statement. Are we having a draft show this year? Yeah, we're gonna do a draft show. Myself, Matt, and Green Bean going to be doing the 3 days of the NFL draft, streaming everything. We're not going to do an in-person draft this year just because I've got stuff going on with the 2 kids and Green Bean's got his new stuff working that he's doing. So we're going to be all digital this year. Also, today was the deadline to take the buyout. I did hear that. I hear the Raiders may take Ted at 6. Yeah. Could you imagine if Abdul Carter... So how would this have to work out, right? You'd have to see the 2 quarterbacks go. Let's say Hunter's off the board. The Patriots go like Membu. The Jaguars go Warren. The Raiders go Tet. And then Carter falls to the Jets at 7. Is that how that goes? Or maybe it's Hunter. Or I don't know. I think the Jets will have one of their picks of Membu or Warren at that spot. I do think Tet is a little bit lower on their list. I don't think it's not so much the him not watching tape as much as it is the similar depth of wide receiver. I shouldn't say similar depth. That's a weird way to say that. But I don't think there's an overwhelming, like, hey, this guy's a top 10 wide receiver in this class. So they may wait till the second round. Ryan was all over Ted a month ago. Yeah, I really like Ted. I'm big on Ted. I would take him if the Jets wanted to take him at 6. I think because we signed Fields and the direction I sort of foresee us going, and because I started to watch a little bit more of the second round wide receivers, I've cooled off a bit on Ted. If we had signed like let's say Aaron Rodgers coming back, or like, I don't know, the Jets didn't go the Fields route, I'd probably be a little bit more on board with wide receiver. Infrared, pound the like button. Yeah, boys and girls, hit that like button. I'm going to be hopping off in just about 5 minutes here so I can hop on with Dom C. And Andreas Keaton, safety out of Temple. We're going to be doing a little interview action here over on Talking Jets in just a little bit. Loveland will go mid-round to late first. I've seen that. That's basically where I've seen him mocked, like right around that middle of the round to the end of the first. Don't really see him making it to the second at all. Anyone want to join my Membu Mafia? Let me know. I'm looking for a new captain and a couple of wise guys. We got the Warren Warriors and the Membu Mafia. I don't care. How much cap do we free up if we let Tigo go? We have dead cap, so he's stuck with us. We basically signed him to the Deshaun Watson deal. He's just not aware of it. Tigo, not feeling so great right now, a little under the weather. So wishing you well, brother. Draft risers never pan out, ever. I mean, 3 of the quarterbacks that went last year all flew up to the top 12. I don't know if I'd say they never work out. Rico, late to the show. Can someone tell me what they tipped off? They may have tipped off that they are moving AVT to right tackle, and then with the recent comments from Muji saying that AVT is going to be a guard, might be them trying to backtrack a little bit. Or it's all smokescreen season. If it's smokescreen season, then you would say you'd keep him at guard. And you want to make people think we're going to take Membu at right tackle. It tells me they're going Warren, if I'm reading the tea leaves, because I think AVT is the break glass in case of emergency tackle. I don't know why you would be saying certain things if you felt compelled to like hide your draft pick. Or not to hide your draft pick? No, to hide your draft pick. Like AVT staying at guard implies Membu to me. We shall see. Jalen, your thoughts on Kyle Williams? He's my #1 ranked wide receiver. I saw, it's funny. I didn't actually sit and watch him. I saw I shouldn't say I didn't watch him. I think I watched like 3 plays from Play Like a Jet because I think that was the video that I saw. And I didn't have enough time to really sit down and watch the entire thing. I will watch more of it, though. Where does he wind up ranking on the wide receiver big board? Tankathon doesn't have him, so I gotta go back. I don't know where he ultimately gets taken in some of these mock drafts. Green Bean says he's fallen in love with Kyle Williams. What's up, Bean? Myself and Dom are going to be doing a mock draft at the tail end of our show after this show. We're going to be doing it probably around 9:30 or so after our interview with Andreas Keaton, safety out of Temple. So I'm excited to get into it. All these rumors of Warren and Membu and the Jets, and they will pick Campbell. I don't want Campbell. I really, really don't want Campbell. Anyone want them to trade up for Hunter or Graham? No, definitely not Graham, and I don't particularly want them to trade up for anyone because I think we're going to get someone really good that falls to us. I do like Hunter, but I don't want them to trade up. Fields needs a blocking tight end. He only uses 2 wide receivers, third option, averaged 2.7 catches and 33 yards. Yeah, the tight end seems to make the most sense. Like you're either going tight end or tackle. That's why wide receiver's fallen off for me. Like I don't think Tet's really in the discussion anymore. So that's my analysis. As much as I like Tet, I don't think he's an option for the Jets at 7. All right, boys and girls, I'm going to hop over to the Talkin' Jets side of things. I'll be there with Dom C and our special guest at 9 o'clock. I just want to get a little prepared for that. So I will bid you adieu, and we will see you in just a few minutes. Some of my takes may stink, doesn't mean you guys have to stink. And that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in. Mando reached out and said, Ryan, your team has stunk for a very long time, so we know that you understand what stinking is. And I said, yeah, absolutely. They're like, so bad, in fact, that we think we can smell you through the camera. And I was like, man, that's very aggressive. Thank you. But what do I got to do? They're like, hey, we're going to send you out some product. We want you to test it out. We want you to be honest with your audience. And then if you like it, offer up a promo code. I was like, all right, cool. So they sent me out the starter pack. I got the Mount Fuji deodorant. Really enjoy that. Put that on every day. In the summer, I've got what is known as a chafing problem, like 2 chestnuts over a roasting fire type problem. This stuff can be put on anything. Your feet, your butt crack, your grundle, your armpits, your hands, boobies, rolls, under boobies, anywhere. This stuff is totally safe. And throwing this on the chafing areas, very, very appreciated. It comes with 2 free gifts as well. I chose the bourbon leather body wash. Becca has really liked that, but I think my favorite thing in the pack is honestly the deodorant wipes. I throw this in my to-go bag and I can just freshen up no matter where I am throughout my day. And maybe I was just yelling at a camera underneath some hot lights, and I just need to look a little bit nicer, smell a little bit nicer when I walk out of the cockpit here. So, guys, if you want to get in on this, I've really enjoyed it. Shopmando.com, promo code JetsTalk. That's shopmando.com, promo code JetsTalk is going to get you $5 off. That's a 40% off savings on their starter pack. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel.